today we are discussing sustainability in the area of housing. Yeah. So basically, for me, just to do a simple definition in the context of what we are discussing, is how to make sure that we consider effectiveness of the environmental factors around a particular housing system or a building or a home. You get bringing it together for effective living. There is a need for us to be able to consider the environment, the immediate environment, be it the trees, the plants that we have around, making sure that they all integrate into one system as we are living. The center focus of sustainability of our housing design or housing development is the human. So it's called human-centered design activity. We are focusing on what we are doing ourselves. We are focusing on who we are ourselves. So we are designing for people. We're not designing the structure. We're not designing for the client or designing for the structure. We are designing for the people. That comes first because the person, the developer that comes out that creates an idea of housing system is doing it for people. It is when you miss the idea of who are we designing for. That is when we start having housing. That is where the housing problem starts from, and that is where I think people blame government because government creates policies that influence the house layout, housing system, and everything. You get is because the purpose, the direction is being missing. That is where we mostly have problems like that in Africa and even beyond. You get so, but once we start focusing on okay, the principle involves around people. You get that is a very, very first thing. So if you're a developer here, like I said, I like us to put in the chat room our names and what we do, our names and what we do. Please, I would really appreciate that. We always do that so I can then make reference to, can touch in areas where the area that matters for conversation. Okay, back to what we were saying. So the direction of the housing system is always primarily for us to focus on what now on the people. I will next slide, please. So I will start with the principles of designs, the principles that governs the sustainable design, the sustainable housing. We have five principles. The five principles of sustainable design. This principle is core for everybody. Either you're an engineer, you are the architect, or the developer. Just need to have this principle at the back of your mind. That is the first thing that starts. The very first one of it is passive design. As you are doing your job in the process of creating sustainable housing or sustainable home or sustainable environment, you get passive design is key. And what is passive design? Passive design is when you are using the immediate environment as a source of supply, or you are inculcating the environment that you have around you, adding it, considering it in the design itself, and making it and creating a platform whereby you get the hair, you get the system, the operations, what operates the house itself. You leverage on the environmental factors. That is when it is passive. In architecture, there's always a cost study that would say when we have mechanical design and then we have passive design. Mechanical design is where you are leveraging so much on mechanical means of ventilating the house, like using ACs and the rest. While you have a passive is where you reduce or almost to zero the mechanical means of ventilating and lighting the house, where you leverage more on large windows. You bring in you fuse your design, home design, with the environment so that there will be enough exchange of both oxygen and carbon dioxide. Like we all know elementarily, the plants pass out oxygen and then they absorb carbon dioxide for their growth. While we humans, we absorb oxygen that they give out and then we pass out carbon dioxide. So the exchange, that is why you see most passive designs, if you check pictures, you only see them that they are infused with plants. You see someone having a garden in his house, and even when you enter the house itself, the home, you see the living room, there will be plants, live plants, living plants, not just not PVCs, bring both together, not rubbers. You get, so those are the things that you then need to now put in place. You play with wood a lot. Your artwork, so you play with wood, so they breathe into the atmosphere, because all those things, they are life, they have a certain level of life inside of them, and then they are more sustainable. Okay, so passive design is always a key. Passive design, from the word passive, meaning that there's less of mechanical or technology use into it. It works on its own. When you say passive income, like you can be sleeping and money is coming into your account, you get, that is what it is. So it reduces your efforts to make life durable. It increases the expense that you put into the infrastructure. You get, so that is what passive is. And then next slide, please. So the next slide is energy efficiency. Passive design will actually influence energy efficiency, definitely. Yeah. So so this professional. Okay, passive. I'll get back to you, Dodo. Let me just do this, and then I'll check what you are saying. You get, passive. So efficient energy efficiency comes in a very good manner, because you are reducing a mechanical way of powering your house. So that is where we discuss about solar panels, turbines, and we have wind turbines, and the rest, about digestive system. So all these things are very, very good in considering it. Apartments, low-level apartments, high-level apartments, you can use, I will explain something in this case, but particularly within this energy efficiency. If you have low-level buildings like a bungalow, 1 story and or 2 story building, that is ground plus 2 suspended or ground plus 3 suspended, you have space for what's called now for roofing system, where you can put solar panels, and then that will help. But by the time you are going like 15, 10, 20-story building, the space you have for your roofing system is minimal. And then how many solar panels can you apply? You will not start asking questions that energy efficiency. Passive design can still work, but energy efficiency, you're not, okay, how do we efficiently reduce carbon when you have high rise that is going into 15 to 20, some 100-story buildings? How then do you maximize energy efficiency when it comes to that? You can still, yeah. So yeah, the designs at which you are, the way you design your windows, the way you come up with every other thing, you can have all those mechanical features in your building, but create a way that even if you put them off, the house can still be functional. I know at a level, at a height, when it comes to building services, building mechanical services, or building electrical services, there's a level at which you can be opening windows, or else something will happen, or else all your materials, all your things will just fly away. But there's a way you can control the wind when it comes to designs. So that's why we are calling it sustainable designs. You get, so there's a way you can manage that, and effectively you can just work well with your architect to be able to manage to manage your energy efficiency. Next slide, please. The next one is systems, which continues the conversation I was talking about energy efficient. The systems and the technology. The systems and technology means the mechanical way at which you are running, or the technology devices at which you are using to operate the house when it comes to your design. So this is very simple. The way what we consider here primarily is, one, your solar system. How do you position them? If you have turbines, how are you considering them? I'm talking a lot about environment and the house. You get, that is, we are discussing sustainability involving the mechanism, that is house, the environmental factors, how it affects the house itself. Just to do a recall in case somebody just joined us. You get, so these are your design process, how you come up with your design, the system at which you run them, the technology behind it. These are the things that you need to consider when it comes to system and technology. You don't use things that are expensive to buy, and also expensive to sustain, to run. That's why we always say solar panel will help, because it's expensive at the beginning, but at the end of the day, over time, you realize that you're not spending so much. But then you calculate how long it serves you compared to how much you budgeted, and you compare the whole thing to when you are using other means of power generation, you realize that you are better, and this is more healthy to you. You're not burning fossil fuel, you are not hurting people, and you get, so that is why we are saying it, because running generators to power your house, the smoke, which is carbon dioxide, the carbon is actually causing ozone depletion, and then ozone layer depletion, and which is hurting everybody with discussion of climate change. You get, so the next slide, please, the fourth one. Yeah, so we have carbon, we have the footprint. Like I always say to people, the less building, less impact. you get. So if you have lesser building, if you have a land space, a plot of land, 600 square meter, maybe few, maybe let's say 6,000 square meter, whatever it is, or 1,000 square meter, and you are building the spaces at which you build, try to reduce them. Reduce your land use, your footage, and then let the environmental, the space, the environmental space that you are leaving behind be more, so that you can be able to have trees, plant every other thing that you need to plant. Let it be more habitable as possible. There's what we call garden design. Let there be a feel of a garden design. Let air flow. Let natural features be seen. That will help the people that are living there. One, it will help their healthcare. It will help them to grow. It will help kids. Let there be life. Let air flow. Not that you have a 500 square meter of land or 1,000 square meter of land, and then you build almost everything. You get it. Anyway, it also depends on the purpose at which you are building, and then in the case of a developer, your revenue, you start, okay, how much am I making? What am I doing? You get, so I'm doing this for business. I'm not doing it for a research, or I'm not doing it for a museum. I'm doing it for business. I need to make profit. You get, so these are factors that we will still discuss about. But the point there, the standard practice, if you really, really want to be sustainable, your footprint has to be smaller, and then that is why we advise that you go vertical. Let us go tower. Now we are having vertical cities, we're having communities that are high rise, and then at every point you have different features coming in. At our firm in Future City, we are currently designing a facility that has the first thing, four things in it, where you can live, you can walk, you can learn, and then you can play. So the whole, like, you literally, not really have to go out. Everything is inside there. You get, and it's close to a major road, so transportation is very easy, and it has an helipad where your chopper can land, and if you have to, you get, and then you can connect down, and then you live your life. And we design it in a way that we have different classes of people living at different classes, different areas. You get, so it meets up everybody. So it's not like it's only for the high-end people. No, it's a mixed, both mixed use and mixed character. You get, and the mixed level of both mixed use and mixed classes. I think that's what we call it here. Then the fifth one is material usage. Your choice of material. Going back to the high rise, we're talking about high rise community towers and those things. Most of them, you inculcate a lot of steels, and you get to be able to get their strength and everything. You may want to ask me that, is that sustainable compared to using mass wood construction? You get, so fine. Even if you're using steel, the finishing, yes, let's make sure that we use a lot of wood, have a lot of plants around, and then I think we have glass solars now that can be used for windows, which some countries are Chinese are producing it, and I think in Brazil we have some countries that are already producing. Some manufacturers are already producing solar panels that comes in glass. You get, so that can also help us. So, more point. We need to invest in learning. We need to invest in study. We need to invest in research. Let's research. Let's learn a lot about the industry. What materials? Materials, you can't 100% cover materials, because as I'm speaking right now, one firm somewhere, they are launching a new material. They are creating solutions, and then and there was one exhibition we went for recently, where we have wood mixed with on layers, whereby as you are stepping on the wood, it's generating electricity. You get, so, and that is what they use to lighten up the house. You get, so there are many ideas that are coming up. So we just need to invest. Exhibitions, attend exhibitions, and get choice of materials that will really help your building to be sustainable. Sustainability, in summary, is that we are reducing their carbon footprint. We are reducing carbon footprint, carbon zero, net zero. That is the direction, that is the point you get, and that is the essence of sustainability you get. And then beyond carbon zero, the next thing is now that we are now making it habitable. We are making people's life healthy while living in the apartments. You get, what are the challenges? We have a lot of challenges, but limiting it to three. Affordability crisis, you get, so how can people afford it? At the initial stage, the capital injection to set up a house that is sustainable may be expensive, not in monetary fact, it may even be expensive in terms of sourcing for those materials you get. By the time you get them, it's a better story. Environmental impact, you get. So these are crises where that we also have the environmental impact of getting things done in using sustainability. Sometimes it's not always that hard, especially when you don't have those things. The impact of it is that people need to cut down trees and make those wood to generate. I think in IBM, there's already a study that has passed the stage of publication, which says that people they can now grow trees in the lab. So they will design a furniture and then they will plant it and they will grow it. It's just wood alone, and it's a science, but it's working now. So that will reduce deforestation. So we don't need to start cutting all our trees, cutting things to be able to create. Because as we are cutting those natural features, we are causing deforestation. Though we are making life good for ourselves, we are transferring those things. We are depleting other places. You get. So we need to also invest a lot into research. How do we make sure that we leave those things the way they are, those trees where they are, and we are still being sustainable. So the solution, the quickest one is live close to where the natural things are. You get. The key principles for sustainable housing, they're very simple. I will pick up with efficient resource management. Yeah, just need to manage energy efficiency, which I've already spoken of, sustainable materials, which I've already spoken of. Those are repeating the principles of housing. We just need to be able to, next slide, please. Next slide. We just need to be able to talk on them and then pick on them. So now I will now discuss the strategies. We have a few strategies at which we can use to help this, to work on this. The first one I will talk about is integrating renewable energy solutions. Okay, so it's a very simple thing. Energy. When you talk about sustainability, the first thing that people think of is renewable. Definitely that which is very very core, and then people drive towards energy because the what is most expensive in running a home or what gives the home functionality, you get to make it to be functional mostly starts with the energy part. You get. So how are we sorting the lightning? You talk about the powering, running your electronics. How do they? You can just fit the house, but how do they become functional? You get. How do you light up your house? How do you do this? You get. So there are many things that you can consider one after the other in bits, so that we can be able to have the holistic thing bring it together. Solar power implementation, it's a good one. I will start by, first of all, I will do well on solar panel. There's what we call solar farms, which some of us are familiar with. We need to have a lot of solar farms in Nigeria. That will help communities to become more energy efficient and reduce carbon footprint. We get. Government need to invest in solar panels. Beyond government, we need developers, real estate developers. Everybody just focus on. That's why we call it infrastructure forum. You get. What makes the housing system functional is infrastructure. You get. So how can we make this healthy? How can we make our communities, our small communities, our estates, and how can we make them sustainable? We need corporate work. Sometimes we need collaboration. Most times we need collaboration. We need a lot of research, R&D departments of different organizations to come together and then create solutions to this. And one of those things is creating solar farms, effective solar farms that will be able to solve certain level of power need, in areas, in communities, in settlements, so that we can reduce the usage of fossil fuel, or can reduce the carbon footprint. You get. So once, and then within that as well, we also have winds, we have turbines, so we can be able to also add to that. Then the problem will now come to batteries. How do we store them, storages and the rest, which can also be worked on and everything. The reason why I'm saying the solar farms and the rest is because data centers will be coming in, and it's coming into Africa in large mass. Organizations are developing data centers, and data centers is energy consuming. It needs electricity to work. And we know, like we say in Fidelity, it needs financial firm as well. I always say it. Yeah, we have three backbones of digital infrastructure. And take it or you leave it, the future of infrastructure, the future of communities, the future of the city is digital. Is digital. We need to start understanding sustainability now, because by the time digital starts settling in well, you realize that to sustain the digital life, you need power. You need power. And if you don't understand the basics of sustainability, it will be hard by then. And then there will be a lot of emergency cases. There will be a lot of people investing a lot of money. At the end of the day, those money will be causing lung cancers, hurting people. You get, so people will be investing a lot into the new way of life, the new characteristics of humans, the new culture of life, the new norm, which will be digital. And to sustain digital, we need power. The backbone of digital infrastructures are three things, which is data centers, fiber optics, and cell towers. Cell towers has maxes and those things that they radiate certain emissions that are even harmful to the body. I learned that they are already working on that to reduce that. They are just still. Yeah, that is one. To power data center, it takes a lot. The cooling system of data center, to cool it, you need a lot. And if you are here, the reason why we create this forum is to discuss opportunities. Opportunities that you can in fact, some people you are doing, that's why I asked you to post what you do. Some of us now we need to start pivoting what we are doing. We need to start doing research on or doing courses on how do we cool data centers in the nearest future in Africa, in Nigeria, even in this Lagos. One of the biggest solutions that everybody will be looking for, how do we cool data centers? Do you know the number of phones that are coming in? The number of people that are buying laptops that are using internet now? The storage. If you are playing, if you're a gamer, you realize that when you are playing linked games with certain people, probably a game that is maybe a virtual game with other people in different countries, you have delay time. They are faster than you. It's because those companies that own those games, their data centers are close to those people. So there's need to have data centers, enough data centers. MTN has their data center. I think Airtel has their data. Airtel just launched one data center last year. I remember that vividly. You get companies are launching data centers to be able to store, to be able to help themselves. The next thing you now talk about is cloud storage and all those things, because that is what they do in the data center. You need to start learning all those things. Then after that, you're now coming into cyber security. How do we make sure that there's no leakage, data leakage? The world is changing. All this sustainable housing itself is changing. Everything is changing. So it will be bad for me to be running infrastructure forum and be telling you things that are outdated. No, the reason for the forum is to be futuristic in our thinking and let everybody position themselves into the future, that how do we develop our community? How do we develop our nation? How do we develop our continent? And it has been said that in a few years' time, 2020, by 2030, 2050, the highest, the location, the geographical location that will have the highest number of youths is Africa. And you don't know what that means, meaning that some of them are not yet born. So by the time they are being born, they are born into digital. So all those analog things, the process of this, it's gone. So the next thing is that digital. They won't understand any other thing except digital. So the best thing we can do now is to start knowing how do we make sure that digital will not be harmful to us as developers now, as realtors. As you are selling your house, always mix it with, if you are selling a property that has the features, the solutions for sustainability, use those things as points. And it's not because you want to sell to them, you are also educating the person that is interested in buying that property to also make sure that let us be sustainable, conscious in all that we do, even in our daily living of life. Then back to business opportunities. There will be business opportunities in Internet of Things, IoT. We need, it's part of it. It's part, because that IoT is what gave birth to smart homes and smart cities. because what we call big data, you'll be able to collect those data and then make informed decision on things. The algorithm collect data that it sees around and then informs you on when to do this. You leave a particular space in your house, as you are moving out, a person, this data that's sent to him signals that, oh, this person is leaving, so there's nobody there. Automatically, the algorithm switches off the light in that space. Sustainability. So the idea of environmental alone as focus on sustainability, people, there's now, which is machine learning, which gives birth to artificial intelligence, meaning that you can also, man, that is what we use for iRise. We introduce artificial intelligence to be able to make the building iRise facility become more sustainable. And then to maintain those cables, those softwares, those solutions, the hardware part of the integration, some of them generate heat, especially the servers. How then do you manage them? That is where you now have to fall back on environmental impact, and then fall back on environmental activities that you need to put in place in your design process to be able to cope that, so that everything is working functional, but somebody is suffering it. We can't have 100% balance. I can always guarantee you that, but at least let us minimize the odds. Let us minimize the waste. Thank you so much, everyone, and I pray that Africa will be great and will not be caught short of delivering excellent job or excellent future for our children and children's children. They will meet a good place from the works that we will be doing as community, as individuals, as parents, and as civil community. Thank you very much for your time. So see you next week Friday. Bye.